Have you ever walked into someone else's house and instantly felt this weird, unexplainable sense of peace? It's not because the house is expensive, it's not because they have the newest furniture or a giant TV. It's just an atmosphere. The air feels lighter, the lighting feels warmer, you feel like you can actually sit down, take a deep breath and drop your guard. And on the flip side, we've all walked into houses that look like they belong in an architectural magazine. Hyper clean, minimalist, expensive, yet they feel completely dead. They feel like a sterile hotel room or a museum where you are afraid to touch anything because you might mess up the aesthetic. There is an invisible element that turns a physical structure into a sanctuary. It's something you can't buy at the furniture store, and you can't hire an interior designer to create it for you. But right now, in 2026, our generation is quietly losing this invisible thing. We are living in spaces that are cleaner and more advanced than ever, but we are feeling more disconnected under our own roofs than any generation before us. And today we need to talk about that invisible thing actually is, and how you can start building it in your own life. Let me tell you about a shift that happened in my own life around a year ago. My parents decided to renovate our downstairs area. They put in this beautiful modern kitchen with a giant sleek black island right in the middle. On paper it looked like $1,000,000. It looked like those aesthetic houses you see all over Pinterest or TikTok. But a few weeks after it was finished, I noticed something weird. Before the renovation, we had this old, slightly scratched wooden dinner table. It wasn't fancy at all, but it was the place where everyone naturally gravitated. My mom would be cutting vegetables, my dad would be reading something, and I'd be sitting there talking about my day. There was friction, there was noise, there was life. With the new kitchen island, everything became hyper-functional. We started eating at different times. I would grab my plate, go straight upstairs to my desk and eat while watching a YouTube video. My parents would eat while looking at their iPads. The physical space became cleaner, more organized and more expensive, but the soul of the house completely evaporated. I realized that a house is just a raw material. It's drywall, wood and concrete. It doesn't care who walks through the door. A house is something you buy with currency. But a home is built out of shared attention, vulnerability and presence. And without realizing it, the digital age has tricked us into trading our presence for isolation, right inside our own living rooms. The invisible thing that turns a house into a home is undivided attention. Think about what happens when you enter a space that feels alive. It's a place where people are actually there. When you speak, they look at you. When they cook, they are engaged in the process. There is a texture to the environment because people are interacting with reality, not just staring at a piece of glass. Compare that to the average modern household today. We have become ghosts in our own living spaces. We walk past each other in the hallway like strangers in the subway station. We sit on the same couch, but our minds are thousands of miles away, trapped inside a social media algorithm or a video game loop. When you withdraw your attention from a room, you drain the life out of it. If your bedroom is just a place where you scroll on TikTok until your eyes burn at 3 a.m., that room isn't a sanctuary. It's just a digital isolation chamber. It feels empty because you are mentally empty when you are in it. The energy of a room is just a reflection of the consciousness of the person occupying it. If you want the space to feel alive, you have to bring your life back into it. There is another illusion our generation has fallen for: the obsession with absolute comfort and convenience. We think that the perfect home is one where everything is seamless. You press a button, the lights dim. You swipe your phone, food arrives. There is no noise, no mess, no friction. But real homes, the ones that stick in your memory, the ones you feel nostalgic for, are defined by their friction. It's the sound of someone clumsily washing dishes downstairs while you're waking up. It's the worn out spot on the couch where the family dog always sits. It's the chaotic overlapping laughter during a dinner where someone accidentally burned the food. When we modernize and digitalize everything, we sanitize the human element out of our own spaces. We replace the warmth of messy, real-life interactions with the cold perfection of technology. An aesthetic room looks good on camera lens, but human beings don't live through a lens. We live through our senses. We need the smell of real food being cooked. We need the sound of footsteps. We need the visual comfort of a space that looks like it is actually being used by people who love each other, rather than a showroom for an IKEA catalog. If you are watching this and you're realizing your living space feels cold, or if you are a teenager preparing to move out soon and you want to ensure your first apartment doesn't look like an empty shell, here's how you cultivate that invisible warmth. First, create a sacred zone for presence. Make a rule for yourself and if possible for the people you live with. No phones at the dinner table. It sounds incredibly simple, almost cliché, but it is a revolutionary act in 2026. For those 30 minutes, force yourself to look at the people around you. Listen to the tone of their voices. Notice the details of the room by intentionally removing the digital escape hatch. You force the energy back into the physical space. Second, put your own soul into the environment. A real home reflects the internal world of the person who lives there. Don't just copy-paste the minimalist bedroom setup you saw online because it looks clean, but things in your room that actually mean something to you. Hang up a physical photo of a memory that makes you smile. Keep the books that changed your mindset on your desk. Leave your guitar or your skateboard out where you can see it. A home should be a physical manifestation of your character, your history and your values. When you walk into your room, it shouldn't look like anyone could live there. It should look like you live there. At the end of the day, the world outside your front door is getting faster, louder and more chaotic every single week. The pressure to perform, to compete and to constantly be on is relentless. That is actually why you cannot afford to live in a house that is just a collection of walls. You need a home. You need a safe harbor where the noises of society stops at the threshold. A place where you can take off your armor, look around and know that you are safe, accepted and grounded. Stop waiting for someone else to build that atmosphere for you. Stop waiting until you buy a bigger house or move to a better city. Look at the space you are in right now. Open your door, put down your phone, look the people you live with in the eyes and start building the invisible thing today. Thanks for watching, brothers. Take care of yourself and I'll see you in the next one.